I'm tired of the same thing, same people, same memory. I can't let it hold me. Purple hair and a nose ring. People always judge me. I need God to do the surgery. He's the only one who can fix me, customize and alterate me. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. I started running solo, lost some friends, lost some people. Trust me, only God knows. Conversations that I didn't know. Oh, I need some upgrading, restore and make changes. What's not of His Spirit, moving out the way. Religion tried to cut me, chain me up and mute my story. Ain't nothing gonna shut me up. I've overcome. Got my testimony, and everything that tried to stop me, no weapon will come against me. Let God do the fixing, yeah. Customize and alterate me. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. God, I need alterations, please fix me. I need some changes. Please fix me. I need some changes. I need alterations. Please fix me. I need some changes.
What is a critical conversation? Well, besides it being a conversation that needs to be had, a critical conversation reveals important context, not only about ourselves, but also the larger world around us. It is these types of conversations that edify, entertain, as well as heal. Join Latoya Harris Gooden as she engages in critical conversations, right here on Trailblazers Radio. Trailblazers Radio has merch. Check out our website, www.trailblazersradio.com/shop to check out our store. You'll find an assortment of hoodies and t-shirts in various colors and sizes, as well as coffee mugs in various colors. Again, check out our website at www.trailblazersradio.com/shop to check out our merch. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. Good Friday evening to you. I am yours, also very truly, Latanya Harris Gooden. Just call me LHG. It's Friday night. And I know you ain't used to seeing LHG on a Good Friday night, but here I is. Here I is. Woo! Can we say what a week? I am still here, yet by the grace of God. Oh, yeah. I'm here, child. One eyelash saying, hello, Dolly. One eyelash saying, bye, Felicia. Are you praying? Are you interceding for your girl on tonight? Good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of Critical Conversations. The power behind our words, the Friday night week in review. And yes, you can support us by sending us stars, Trailblazers with a Z. Radio would love to continue to bring you amazing content, and you certainly can support us in doing that. So stars, honey, stars. See this? Stars. I'm wearing a star. We need your stars. CEO Fred Beatty is in the house, and thank you everyone for tuning in to tonight's impromptu show. Both brother and I have some things to get off our chest today, apparently. So, when we have those moments, the beautiful thing about podcasting is that you can jump on when you need to and just release. You think we do this just for you? Sorry, a little bit of selfishness in here. We do this for us. Yes, because confession breeds healing. I always say that. And you heard the commercial. Trailblazers has merch. While I sip on my tea with my Girl Chat Weekly mug, honey, we have merch. And I'll be wearing my Critical Conversation shirt on Power Hour on Monday. Speaking of Power Hour, if you missed this past Monday's Power Hour with business tycoon, family man, motivational speaker, and more, Andrew Griffin, woo, baby, you missed the treat. However, you can go back and watch the replay, and he shall be back on Monday, and preferably you will see him at least every month because he has so much to offer. His testimony, his accomplishments, the Change Your Paradigm conference is March 30th in Roseville, Michigan. Call him 313-586-734. Everybody in the metropolitan Detroit area, I need to see your face in the place. And I will drop the flyer in the comments. This conference is free, which may be for the last time being free, but you need to get yourself in there. Business owners, people thinking of becoming business owners, church groups who want to learn about changing mindsets, get in here. Bring your coworkers, your constituents, your friend circle, brothers, sisters, young entrepreneurs, community activists, whoever you may be out here. You need to be at the Change Your Paradigm conference, and go and follow Andrew Griffin on Facebook. He posts different shorts, and you can get a chance to see and hear some of the powerful nuggets that he gives us. Thank you, Brother Fred. We do have our merch, and it's available now. www.trailblazers with a z.com/shop merchandise, honey. Merch. We are growing, we are expanding, and we are excited for that. I am going to be joined tonight by my sisters. I'm getting them on the air here, just reaching out really quickly. Also, just to kind of give you a couple more announcements, this Sunday, March 24th, Team SOG, Selected of God, Pastor Larry Callahan and Selected of God will be in their Palm Sunday concert. I'll also put those details in the chat. The place I would rather be on Palm Sunday. This concert is a staple for us in the Detroit area. We look forward to SOG. The concerts are always anointed, power packed. You never know what to expect. They always add elements of surprise. The integrity, the excellence that they exemplify in any of their productions is outstanding and stellar. So Detroit, 313 586, all of y'all. 734, rise up. Come from Flint, come from Kalamazoo, come down. Get you some gas in your car, check your oil, check your wheels, and get on the highways and the byways and get to the church. And I'll post the details. We're going to be in Ferndale. I believe it's called Mount Vernon. So get ready. Get ready. So today's episode was named Friday Night in Review. Just kind of making sure we discuss our week. Sometimes you can have such a hectic week. It's worthy of a cool down period. It's worthy of some conversation. Maybe some things happened this week that you weren't proud of and that you want to kind of process and say, you know what, let's do this differently next week. Or there could have been some things that happened this week that were so outstanding, so life changing in a positive way that you want to say, well, how do I create an encore or a repeat? Because I love the way I maneuvered through this week. So that's why I called it the Friday Week in Review. You need to have somebody, a girlfriend, a brother, a sister, that you could just kick it with about how was your week? How was your day? How was the month so far? We're in the middle, past the middle of the month. And this month for me has been heavy because I lost two very important people in my life in the month of March. My grandmother passed away in 1998, March 15th. And today would have been my uncle's, I believe, 78th birthday. Happy heavenly birthday, Willie James Finch, and rest in peace, Ruthie Mae Carter. So yeah, March has been a little heavy. Also, March in 2020, I believe, 21 of those was when COVID got really, really hot and things started changing in our world. Um, we were going out of town, taking Gabby to her birthday trip when things were just now shutting down, and we were getting false news that ain't nothing wrong. It's just a little virus. What you talking about, Willis? That thing took people out like crazy. And looking back on it, all I can really say is thank you, Jesus, for protection and for just being there. I would have never thunk that the entire world would have shut down. Not just a city, not just a state or a region. Everything was shut down. COVID-19 through 22 affected all of us. We will never be the same. Life will never be exactly what it was. We have a new normal now, whatever normal may be. Things have changed. Kind of like 9/11 in a sense. When 9/11 came, it seemed like changes came because we had to protect our country. But this was our country. So at the airport, you got more security and certain things you can't do, certain things you can't have. Because when we have those kind of cataclysmic changes in our society, life thereafter is forever changed. It just reminds you to just always be prayerful, always be in a posture of, okay, Lord, give me just give me a word. What should I do? There was a state of confusion. I was talking to my daughter. We were going in and out of the supermarket with masks, gloves, hazmat suits, had our list running in, running out like supermarket sweep because we didn't want nobody to breathe on us, touch us, whatever. It was just heavy. And that heaviness has still been on us ever since that. My husband ended up getting COVID, and it was very close to death for him because of his underlying conditions. I'm like, Lord, I know you ain't give me no husband in my 40s to take him away. Come on now, Lord. I thought you loved me at least a little bit. Um, but thank God. And then I ended up getting it. And then that was, it wasn't as bad for me as it was for him. But change is inevitable. Thus, the choice of song that I selected called Alterations. Shout out to Mook Star Dash. She is Detroit's own. Um, she's now in Atlanta. She's an amazing hot artist. She's been singing for a minute. I would admonish you to go and purchase her music. I always play her therapy song. Hey, Simone, you're supposed to be in here with us. But alterations fit because that's changes. Think of an alteration you need for a garment. because you've gotten too big for it and you got to edit it out, or you've gotten too small for it and then you got to take it in. But you love that garment and you don't want to just discard it. So you take it to the cleaners for what? For alterations. Well, sometimes alterations are needed in a spiritual sense. Hello, Minister LaShawn. Love you, sis. You might need to make some changes in your surrounding to make sure you are spiritually sound. Making sure you're in a Bible teaching ministry. Hello, Auntie Diane. Thank y'all for coming through here tonight. Alterations in your friendship circle, alterations in your own mental thought life. Your thought life can need alterations. Let me get Sinette up here. She is ready. Hey, girl.
Hey, my sister from another mister.
Thank you for hanging with me on such a
Is
short
that
notice.
just me or is my house dark?
It's a little dark, but whatever you're comfortable with, Sinette, we just
Yeah,
roll.
I got the light on. That's why I'm looking at like, oh
We
my.
just roll, girl. We just roll. But thank you
Hold
for hanging
on.
with me
Lighting
tonight.
it. Girl,
I just had to just kind of release some things tonight, and by this being Friday, I did not want to take it into the weekend, so we're gonna get some stuff off our chest. Brother Fred says if you have not heard Mookstar Dash's music, you check out her YouTube page. There is many songs that we play. Therapy, her latest single is called Therapy, and if you know anything about me, one thing I always say, therapy and Jesus, Biggie size, honey, does well with me. We're going to get her back on the show soon so she can hopefully do some live music and do some singing. You will not be, that's right, you will not be disappointed. Her music speaks to current situations. She's a young artist, and I like how her way of lyrically expressing herself with such freedom and transparency. Anytime you got a song called Therapy, we transparent. Because many of us, some of y'all religious fanatics, yeah, I called you your Gargamel spirit. You don't want to even admit that you need therapy, and that's why you are going through some of the things you are going through on tonight. But I want to praise
Can I
that.
ask you a quick question before you go
Yeah,
any further on this?
yeah.
Why can't therapy be used in conjunction with the word of the Bible? Can't you intercede those two? Bring them together?
I think you can, especially people who are therapists and have a Christian walk that they are walking on. They
Because I
can.
would love to have a Christian therapist, someone that's not going to jump. And I have no problem with meds, but I'm not a meds person. I don't like taking meds. So
Right.
someone that can, without a judgmental spirit, but can also give you the worldly side of it and the godly side of it, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Now, what I do know as a professional in the therapy arena, my own therapist, I can tell the one that I have now. And I actually asked her during a session, would I offend you if I talked about God? I asked her as the client, would I offend her? Because being that I love the Lord and my Christian walk is so important to me, I talk about God all the time in my therapy sessions because they are infused for me. The clinical and the spiritual for me go together. But I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable knowing that she was not labeled as a Christian therapist. The one prior to that was, but you only get what you can get per your insurance too.
Right.
So sometimes you're at the mercy of, well, what will Medicaid, Medicare, Part A through Z or whatever cover. So you may not be able to get the one you really want, but you got to work with what you got. So I asked her that, would it offend you if I ain't gonna go into total speaking in tongues with her, and I ain't gonna scare her now. I ain't gonna holler at her. I ain't gonna holler because I put a post out there. She was talking so good, I almost went into a Pentecostal frenzy. But I had to catch myself because I ain't wanted to end the Zoom. But I asked her, would it be offensive if I did that? She says, no, talk about it. But what I do know, what I have been told in therapy is therapists have to be careful not to initiate religious talk.
Right.
Because you don't know your client's background until you talk to your client. Now, once I revealed to her that I was Christian, once I revealed to her, that walk.
Basically,
That is
you
important.
brought it up and let her know it was
Yes.
okay to talk about it.
Yep, because I wanted to let her know I had to break her in. When you get a therapist, I hate to put it like that, break her in like she a puppy. But when you get a doctor, even a PCP, therapist, like whatever you get, there has to be an orientation session. You two have to get to know each other. One of the most intimate type of discussions is your mental capacity.
Right.
So my therapist and my OBGYN is probably the people who know me in ways other folks don't know.
Literally and literally.
The rooter and
To
the
the rooter to the tutor to the fooder to the hooter.
exactly. Those who don't know your rooter and your tutor. That's a
And
person.
the who has the
You see? So when I have those discussions,
Hey,
and I'm real
Simone.
big, hey Simone, I'm real big on being very open with any of my doctors. Why go to a doctor and hold back? Why or lie? No, we pay money and insurance, and the government is helping me get these good benefits. When I go to the doctor, I have some things in my head, if not written down, that I want to talk about. And it's a partnership.
Right.
Your doctor should be partnering with you in your health. Your doctor should be going into that chart if they can before even seeing you and saying, okay, she got this going on. Now what she put in here for her new issue? Okay, it's follow up. Okay, blood pressure. Okay, all right. Okay. There should be a plan. I want to start her on this, take her off that, talk about that. My new PCP is a young cat, a young Thundercat, y'all. When I tell you he got to be fresh out of medical school orientation, he just young like that, but he listens.
Right.
And he has a speech impediment, but he don't let that thing bother him, and it don't bother me at all. I think he is an inspiration. He has been one of the best PCPs I've ever had, just in being sympathetic, having a good plan of action, asking questions, comparing how I was a couple years ago to today, noticing my weight loss, encouraging me and not making me feel, having that obesity talk. You can feel like, okay, geez. And I've been
Like,
losing.
I know I'm big. You ain't got to rub
Right.
it
And
in.
he don't do me like that. And I've been losing weight. Every time I go see him, the weight is going down. And not because I've been really trying, I'll be honest, but sometimes stress and lack of appetite could take weight off of you. Simone says, honestly, how are you feeling? Let me pray and I'm gonna answer that, Simone. That's a very good question, and thank you, because many times we don't answer that question honestly. How you doing? Good. How you doing? Fine. It's a real quick-witted response. But I'm gonna pray before I answer that question, Simone, and then we're gonna go further. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, I just want to set the atmosphere tonight, God, and thank you for the blessing of a new day, the blessing of the ending of a day, the blessing of just camaraderie and sisterhood and fellowship and the opportunity to come before the people and something that said help them. So I ask you, since we're talking about words having power tonight, God, I ask that you give us power in our words to lift a bowed down head and to help someone who may not be feeling strong feel stronger, who may not be feeling loved, feel loved, and let people know that even though they may be physically alone in a room, in a house, in a space, that they're never alone in this life, in this human experience, because you said, lo, I'm with you always, even until the ends of the earth. So I believe your word is true and you cannot lie. It's not even in your nature to be a liar, God. So I will take your word for what it is to me. It is life. It is life. So I gotta thank you for Trailblazers as a whole. Thank you for our CEO, COO, and our hosts. I thank you for those who support us, such as Sinette, my sister, that came on to support me tonight, and I appreciate her. Simone being in the comments. I thank you for Auntie Diana, for all those who will come through Minister LaShawn, that will come through even the replay tonight. And as we talk about the power of our words, help us, God, to be cognizant and mindful of number one, our thought life, because you won't speak a word until you think a word. So, God, I thank you for helping us to govern our thought life and helping us to settle our minds on things that are of you and not of the world, or things that the enemy puts in front of our faces. I thank you, God, that our thought life is turning around even now, so that our words, which do have great power, can be used in a positive way to positively touch and impact anyone and everyone who needs it, including our own selves. Sometimes the power of our own audible voice helps us to increase our faith. So, positive affirmations and declarations is what we will give. So, we are the head and not the tail. We are above and not beneath. We are the lender and not the borrower, even though we had to borrow $10 on Monday. You can change our situation in an instant. So, God, our faith looks up to thee. And we love you and we glorify you in Jesus' name. Amen. So thank you
Amen.
for being here. Let me answer this question. Simone, I feel better. I'm going to land it on that word start, because we talk about the power of words, right? And one thing I want to be careful of is to not complain. Now, it's a fine line between I ain't going to complain, but I got to tell the truth. Okay? Let's put that out there. People say that church boy says, I ain't gonna complain the line too long. I love that. So I'm gonna be truthful. I'm better. Today I went to the store and came right back. There was other stuff I wanted to do, Simone, and I could not. So today I allowed myself to rest. We talk about this right here. The body keeps the score. I keep this book close to me all the time. The body keeps the score. So oftentimes when you may want to do certain things, if your body says, you may have to make some alterations in your schedule. I feel better than yesterday. And should God give us tomorrow, Simone, because it's up to him, I believe and declare that I'll feel better then than I do today. Because we got to celebrate the little things. Isn't that right, Sinette? Even
Amen.
the
We got
little
to.
triumphs, even a little bit of better, even a little bit of stronger, even a little bit of wiser. We have got to get to a point where we celebrate even the smallest triumphs. What's your thoughts on that, Sinette?
That's such a good thing, like to kind of coincide with you saying, because I'm a person, I'm an extrovert, but I'm also an introvert. It depends on my day. Some people, some days I wake up, I don't want to be bothered with nobody. Some days I wake up and I want to talk people ear off. So it depends on how I feel. But today was the funeral for my neighbor's husband. So I was working with her, keeping food in my fridge and stuff so they can have stuff ready for the repast. So I couldn't go to the funeral for that reason. But it just warmed my heart. What I did was, and it wasn't nothing fancy. So I made just like 50 bags of like chapstick and hand cream, little, the
Oh,
travel size hand cream for the
yes.
family and whatever. For her family, I said, pass it out to your family. Then
Oh,
I made her a nice little gift bag with like bubble bath, Skin So Soft products, you know, back brush, and the head was similar to what you're wearing to keep the hair out while she's, I said, because I know she will see the funny in it. Because I'd be like, now you can, do your smell good. But then she'd be like, I ain't got nobody smell good. I'd be like, well, girl, I said, I wouldn't say it, but I'd be like, well, when you're ready to smell good with somebody, you'll have it. You can smell good. You can smell good for yourself, smell good for your
come on,
family,
smell good.
or because I mean, bless his heart, he was like 83 years old, so
Oh,
he lived to
wow.
see 83 years old. But to spend 5 hours down there and eat some good Jamaican food, glory be to God, that meat was I was sucking the bone, just acting real ghetto. I was ghetto eating. It was so good, girl. So just to be around there with the
Yes.
family and everything, and to see her grandkids, because some of them I knew who they were when they were still cells in their mama belly. So to see
Yes.
how, just to be in that environment for that 5 hours really made me feel good. For
Praise.
me, it was a sad reason, but
Yeah.
I felt
But
good.
come on.
Cause
Come
you're
on.
around people you don't talk too much, and the sad things, and just they were playing the music. I was
Mm.
in the wheelchair trying to twerk and
You better
bump
get
and
it,
break.
girl.
I was in there doing my little booty shaking, and God forgive me for saying that, but I was doing it in my wheelchair, and I had her laughing
Right,
up.
motherfucker.
I said, I know he down up in heaven laughing at me because he know I don't never get dressed up. So now he know I got dressed up for the repast. He probably giggling at me. And I made sure I wore a bright orange dress so he could see me in heaven.
Ah,
And she was
man,
laughing. She said,
you
"You
are
so crazy."
hilarious.
Yeah, so
You
I
are
mean,
hilarious.
we gotta. Like I said before, I deal with my own issues and whatever, but we just all that's why I be looking forward to these little chats, and I be like, when I see the thing, I'm like, my TV show was on, I had to press pause, I had to come jump on. And I had to I do the TV version say see me in about a horse. I don't need to be directing what that means. But I
Mm,
just had to go and just free my mind and
yes,
come back in here
man.
so I can just chat without no interruptions.
I love it. I love it. We got Ebony Williams in the house. Hey, sister. She
Hey,
says
Ebony.
tomorrow will be better. We declare that today, that tomorrow will be even better than today. And when we get into a place of heaviness and a place where we feel like, ooh, what is this on me? Your words do have power. Whoever said sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
A
Words can.
lot.
That's a
But,
lie. Somebody lied. Who made that up? Who made
well,
that
it
up?
depends on who hitting you with the stick, but they hurt equally.
But if the power of the tongue has life and death in it, then that means some words can hurt.
Words hurt forever, but sticks and
That
stones
hurt.
hurt. I don't
Right.
like pain in verbal or physical, so I'm in a lose-lose situation. I can't win at all.
But words are powerful
Yeah.
because there's words that build up and there's words that did you say a fat face liar? That's you know what? Only you, Ebony Williams. A fat face liar. Lord have both face on. Lord Jesus.
If you could see my face, you'd be like, Jeanette, cut it out, yo. Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God. But people say, I mean, and maybe it sounded cute back in the day when you were being bullied. Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Right,
But let me tell you, we wouldn't be talking about bullying if the words didn't hurt. If the
right.
words didn't have people feeling a certain way to the point where people were unlifing themselves. Come on, that's just being for real. Hate to go that
Yeah.
hard so soon, but that's a whole different show. Bullying, cyberbullying. Someone was this girl was convicted of bullying her boyfriend to unlifing himself. She kept saying, "Do it, do it, do it." You
I
know, you
wonder if that's the one they made a movie about.
yes,
Or
yes,
because
yes,
they had I think there was one on Lifetime and one at the movies.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
a couple of them out there. You know.
Simone,
Okay,
she
Simone, you
said,
just called
whoever
out what
said
I
that
just
must
put.
have also said the customers always. Let me tell you
I
something.
lost my train of thought on that one
You
because
will never hear Latanya Harris Gooden say the words, the customer is always right. I will say this. The customer is always right to the customer. They're right to
right,
themselves. Or I will say the customer is always the customer. Okay, I will make, but to say they're always right, no. Matter of fact, they're
you
hardly
too.
in my line of business. They were hardly ever right, but we still had to treat them a certain way. And Ebony will attest to this. We had to deliver not so favorable news to those customers And many of them would turn around and curse us out or get very angry, but we were trained to deliver the news. Okay, yes, you were not at fault, but however, based on the kind of policy you purchased, you have a $1,000 deductible. Well, that is the policy that you chose. I mean, we cool, calm, and collective. You have to, but no, the customer is not always
And
right.
the sad part is too, though, which also the customer has to educate themselves, but
True.
the company needs to educate its employees to give proper information to the customers too, if that
Mm,
makes sense.
we want to
Because
catch
sometimes,
the consumer. Yeah, it makes sense.
because some things we have to over explain to customers. Because some
True.
customers don't, and I'm not saying all, there's always that 1 in a million customer that we have to, whether it's a language barrier or age barrier, or sometimes it's just due to a lack of an education. So
Especially with something as intricate as insurance. And Ebony and I work together in insurance. She says, Tanya, you know that I told a man, I won't say you're lying, but you're not telling me the truth. That need to be on a t-shirt. I ain't saying
okay,
you're lying, but you ain't telling me the truth on tonight.
okay,
But in the insurance industry, Sanette, the average
that's
person,
harder
it is
because it's literal to the line. How you
right.
call it? It's what the contract says.
And the insurance language, the average person in Michigan knows I have to have it to drive, and they're only gonna get what they want to pay for, and they're not gonna look at that policy and what it is and what it isn't until they need it. So when
And
they
most
have that
don't even
automobile
read the
accident and
fine
call
print.
us, then and only then do they really understand what they paid for or what they bought. They don't know what they bought. They only
Read
know
that
that
fine
they're
print.
paying for it. I'm paying $180 a month, but they're clueless. Yes, Ebony, and put that back up there. They're clueless, and I can't blame them per se because we were trained in insurance, and our training lasted when we started in our company. We were in training for like months. Now it's
Right.
probably down to weeks. We're trained in the policy, like deep training. Simone says
Right.
exactly. Ebony says they say they want the cheapest, and when they get the cheapest, they get mad. Be careful when you say you want the cheapest of something. And that's even
Mhm.
health insurance. If you want the cheapest health insurance, trust me, it's not going to allow you to go to the best of doctors or the best of places or get the number of office visits. So when you say go on and give me $5 worth, I want what $5 a month can buy. They're gonna give you this right here.
But you know what? Can I
Yeah,
and I
let's
say
see.
that it's gonna sound weird, but it coincides with what you're saying. You
Mhm.
can buy the best, but the best don't always go for. You gotta look what you can have two contracts that are the best, but you gotta pick the best contract that's for you, if that makes sense.
But
I'm
that
not
goes back to being a conscious consumer. That goes back
right.
to like when Ebony and I were working together, and I'm sure Ebony, you probably can attest to this. Once you've learned a certain skill, whatever kind of job you have, insurance, medical, health, whatever, you become the expert of your family and friends circle. Everyone knows that I've spent 22 years in the auto insurance industry. So if somebody has an accident in my family or friend circle, they're probably going to call me. Okay, so and so
Right.
had an accident. What should they do? First, you got to this. Second, you got this. Because you're the person who went through the training and you spent so much time in the environment, they are going to rely on you because you know the inside of it all. Okay. The
But they need
customer,
to learn the inside too.
true. The companies have to educate, and we used to educate Ebony, correct, even long after we left, even during our phone calls. And I know we kind of veered off. That's okay, because this needs to be said. Those of you who work in call centers or in customer service, stop talking to people like they should know what you know. Were they sitting by you in training? No.
Right.
You are the SME, subject matter expert of whatever it is you do. So when you are talking to that person on the phone, okay, you have to find a way to educate them, even if the news is going to be unfavorable. At least you know what your policy covers. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a liar. So at the end of that call, even though you may not like what I've said, you can go to your own policy and find what I've said. I just broke it down. So if God forbid you have another accident, you will hear my voice. Okay. When I get off the phone, Tanya said, call and see if I can get BROAD collision. Because in that, if I had that, I wouldn't have had to pay this deductible. Come on. We gotta do some educating too. Hey, cousin Kenyatta, you ain't that late, girl. You good. You good. So yeah,
folks who are buying this stuff,
every call.
Look, also those that are buying it gotta stop lying. They gotta tell you the truth about their vehicle or whatever.
Those who sell it gotta stop lying to get a sale. And we battled that a lot in our industry, and Ebony can attest to this. One of the reasons why the customer was so mad was because the agents weren't honest. They just wanted to get the sale, but a good insurance agent is going to explain the difference. Yes, you came in here wanting 1 teaspoon of insurance, but that 1 teaspoon is going to get you this bootleg policy. Let me explain to you the different kinds of coverage, the benefits of different kinds, and then you may say it will be worth $10 more or 8 more cents for peace of mind. Okay.
Right.
So those who sell it got to be more honest. The consumer has to, okay, when I go in here, I know I got money on my mind, but I also want to find quality.
And you got to look at the neighborhood you live in. If you live in a high crime area or high accident area, you got to look and be honest. Because now, before, you can get away with not being truthful. But with the way that Google Maps search is set up, all they got to do is go to Google Maps and look up your address and know you live in a horrible neighborhood. So now you lied to them.
Right. So we dealt with that too. That's called fraud or misrepresentation from our customers. So while to those people out there who feel like you can hide certain stuff from your insurance company, you may get away with it for a minute, but you keep having accidents in Detroit, but your policy's address is Mount Clemens. Why you got so many accidents in Detroit? Do you work in Detroit? It says here you work so place. So you think you're getting away with it, but once the company suspects something and starts an investigation on you and finds that you have misrepresented yourself in any way, they can cancel you. And it kind of goes in line with the whole words having power. The words that you don't tell a person can have power. We have had people because of what the agent did not say. We've had to
ask you this question for educational purposes for me. So if someone lied about what, like you just said, and they cancel it, can the insurance company make them pay back something or fine them or a penalty, or do they just
cancel the policy? They can deny claims, and that's bad enough. Now, can they prosecute them? That might depend on the severity of the fraud. When I was a medical adjuster, we dealt with fraud rings, people who would purposefully buy used vehicles and have accidents on purpose in these little Hondas. Like you rear-end your cousin purposefully to get paid. Oh, my neck. Oh, my back. How first of all, how did 30 of y'all get in the Honda? I don't care how small you are. How was the clown car? How 30 of y'all was in the same car? What? So we have to, yes, Ebony, good point. Once you are canceled and you are found out and you're out and exposed, other insurance companies don't want to touch you because you are major risk. Nobody wants you because you out here lying. But people have gotten so scamish and flim-flamish that they come up with these lavish schemes. Cousin Kia, you know your cousin's crazy. These lavish schemes to get money. But the crazy part is most insurance companies have a complete fraud department. Every arson claim, every house fire or car fire went to the fraud area to get investigated to make sure the fire wasn't set intentionally. So for those of you who think you can scheme with insurance claims, And first of all, to the people who are crazy enough to call me with that crap, why would I put my job and integrity on the line, Pookie and Ray Ray, to try to come up with some scheme with you? Are you crazy? I hung that phone up so fast. Could you get me some insurance? Click. Could you you don't even talk to me. Why are you calling me? Come on. And yes, they have seen it all. Most of the people who work in our fraud unit were either former police officers, private investigators. So they have the experience of knowing how to find out scams. You think you had in your car at grandmother's house is gonna do it, and then they come up, burn up. Come on. Do right. Do right. Y'all can't even do wrong right. Just do right. Because by the time they flag your name in the computer system as uninsurable because you're flim flammy and shimmy shammy, ain't nobody gonna touch you. Then what you gonna do? We have to have insurance in this state to drive. It's mandated. Get pulled over and see what happened, and not have no insurance.
Okay.
You might as well lay out in the street and just start crying and just ask the Lord to take you on home. Lord jeez, that's so dramatic. So here is why I named the show The Power Behind Our Words. I did a post earlier this week about the words get over it. And I got mixed responses about the potency of those words. I personally, I can only speak for LHG, find the words repulsive because of a few reasons. I was thinking about mental health and when I posted that. And I deal with mental health on our shows quite a bit. I've dealt and deal with mental health in my life right now, when it comes to anxiety, depression, things of that nature. And I've heard people say to others, just get over it. Yep, you got raped, molested, abused, manipulated. Get over it. Those words for LHG wreak havoc in my brain. And I gave an example of what might work better. I said something to the effect, as you process what you're dealing with, go with God. Because to me, getting over it or just saying, just suck it up. As a matter of fact,
deal with it.
when Ethan Crumley, the active shooter in Oxford, Michigan, 15 at the time, was going through his mental breakdowns, and he would text his parents and he said, I need therapy. I'm hearing voices. I need help. James Crumley, his father, said to him, suck it up. That's to me synonymous with get over it. It's along the same lines. The spirit behind it is leave me alone. Deal with it. I don't have time for you. But other perspectives came down the post and said, well, what if it's a friend that comes to you and says something like, what you're dealing with and getting stuck in something is unhealthy. True. And you're going to have to get over that, Latanya. Okay. I have people in my life that I could probably accept that from if there's other words around it and not just get over it. Latanya, this is unhealthy for you. Fred says those words are very divisive, insensitive, and disingenuous, but they are also phrased with the by now starter. Right? You should have been over it by now. As if that's a good point, Fred. As if this has gone on long enough. This is too much. Enough is enough. Who can tell you what's enough? Who can tell you, yep, you have grieved long. What day is it? March 22nd? Yep, your grief should be over. Get over it. Get over the loss of a deceased son. No, you can't do it. You can't do that. So in context, it depends. Ebony says you can not cut me and tell me how to plead. Okay. You can't tell a person when they should be done feeling away. And let me say this, how we hear those words is going to depend on our own individual levels of grief. Yes, Fred, you need to come on up in here.
All right.
Yes, sir, you do. How you have dealt with trauma and grief, you're going to hear get over it differently. We hear everything differently based upon our own experiences. Do you agree, Sinette?
I agree, and it also depends. Like you can say it in a way that's not as offensive to somebody, but it still hurts. But they say it in a tone that's not so like judgmental. Like
Okay.
you're trying to, you're looking for the right words to say, but they don't know what to say. It's like,
Right.
well, I think now it's not all the time. I say maybe 10-20% of the time somebody's saying it from a good place. Fred,
Hello.
it just depends on how that person is delivering it. Some people
Delivery.
if you can say it in a place that's not so offensive, because you gotta realize when you say it in that tone, you're making the situation worse. It's like you take 2 steps forward, 10 steps back type situation.
Can it
But
depend
it's
on the person and the level of relationship you
Right.
have with them? Is that a factor?
but it's also
Yes
going to
and
depend on
no.
the receiver's emotional state too.
That
Yeah,
part as well. Here
that's the
we
biggest
go.
part
Ebony
too.
says it. We filter things. It's the filter. Everything that we hear is a filter. It's coming through a pipeline. We filter things differently. I cannot hear the word stupid. If someone says to me that I did something stupid, I filter it that I am stupid. So that's a word we don't use. Now, that's a word that culturally we used to use a lot. That stupid, you so stupid. You know what I'm saying? I
I'm
never
guilty
said
of
that.
using that word too. I'm not.
I've never said that, even in jest. You stupid.
I'm guilty, y'all. To be honest, one word that I've cut back on using was the, how can I say it? For those with mental disabilities, the R word. I had
Yes.
to
Yes.
realize. So I've gotten that good on not saying that word, but the stupid word I'm still working on.
But culturally, there are certain words, y'all, that we use culturally that maybe we should think about. Now, of course,
But
I know Sinette would never just call someone stupid and mean it in the literal sense, but our culture, our slang, our
right,
ebonics, or whatever you want to call it, makes us not ebonics. Our culture makes us use certain words in certain context. Maybe it is kind of ebonical. I don't know, but we don't
but
mean it.
if those that don't know what we mean might look at it in a negative connotation.
A different culture, a different generation might
Right.
say, "Ooh, what certain things that the young people say today, I can't identify with, and certain things I say today, I'm sure they can't identify with." We couldn't say stupid as kids. We couldn't do it. Ebony says, I also take offense to people saying you're bipolar. And we use that sometimes in jest. I am bipolar, and if people truly understood how and what it is, they wouldn't throw it on others. That's kind of along the lines of the fact that when we throw these words around, whether it's having a disability or having something wrong, whatever, we throw these words around as if it's supposed to be funny, and we all have probably been guilty of it, and not trying to hurt, but just our culture has brought those words to us in a way that was probably not the best way to use it. Simone says true.
Like
People do
like
joke about
and one more
bipolarism. They
let me
do.
ask
Why you
y'all
ain't up
one
here,
more
Simone?
question.
She busy. Simone with Auntie, she busy.
But like when we used to use the term sissy or the other term for sissy, we used to
Mm,
both say that, or which
mm.
might not have meant nothing per se, but now you
I
say those
think those
words.
words have always been offensive, but
I
we've
mean,
used it,
again, as a
especially when
kid,
I was growing up.
I used to
That
use those words as a
used a
kid,
lot, but it's always been a nasty word.
and
Mhm.
I used to get in trouble
Words have
because
power.
the
Yeah, they do.
education of my mother and grandmother and them was like, "You're too smart to be using those type of words. Why are you talking like you're ghetto. I'm like, Grandma, we live in the ghetto. Just because you live in the ghetto, you ain't got to stay in the ghetto. All right, yeah. Which is true.
Oh
I
my
couldn't
God.
argue it, but she was like, people in hell want ice water. You only go over there and get burnt too, fool.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
But most times when we use those words, I mean, when we use those words, we so even me as a kid and as a teenager, we never knew that these words had any cognizant or any palatable effect on people until we saw the result of until we saw the actual result of what we said to somebody. And
Right.
Yeah.
or that we said to somebody, or we see somebody do something, bring harm to themselves because
Right.
of something that someone or we or somebody else had said to them.
Right.
And those words may have pushed that person over to the edge. I mean, I've had friends make attempts like that because of words that were spoken to them, things that were said about them, you
Right.
know, egregious words, and
Mm-hmm.
it pushes those people over the edge. And like and as kids, we don't understand we don't understand the power of the thing of those words. You know, we just say them because they sound good,
That's
or it sounds like a
true.
great comeback when someone else is getting bagged on, right?
Right.
And then and then that person goes back crying and that because their feelings were hurt. We look at it as like, they'll be all right. You know what I'm saying?
Listen to this. What
They'll come back. And then
Go ahead, Fred.
when they come back, or that person comes back and they become that other person that nobody really understood, nobody really knows, or that person that was like a like a school, like, I don't know if we can say this word or anything like that, so I won't say it. A person that comes back and brings grievous harm to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say it in that manner.
Right.
And then when everybody says, "Well, what happened?" Y'all know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know exactly what happened. Y'all said something egregious to that person. That person snapped.
Right. Right. And that happens. This is a generational thing. Going back to my childhood, public humiliation was permissible, whether it was between a mother and child, or a dad and child. Like you in public, I'm gonna spank you, I'm gonna smack you, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That was normal for a mother to
All the
openly,
time.
publicly either haul off and hit,
Mhm.
or at least say, I'm going to, like the verbal threats. That was normal in the 80s and 90s. Okay.
It was
Then you
even
have,
normal in church too.
right. I was gonna say, even over the pulpit, where you would have someone publicly over the pulpit trying to shame someone. Yeah, so and so was caught doing this and this, or just saying stuff. That public humiliation. Hey, Simone, welcome. That seemed to be
Hey, Simone.
normal. And in some ways, people thought it was necessary in the deliverance process. If you got to embarrass them, you got to humiliate them, and that's going to make
No,
them want to do right. No,
no.
that's the adverse. So fast forward to 2024, you go on these streets and you start verbally attacking your child, verbally just wilding out on them. You're probably going to get somebody called on you, because
Hey y'all, what I miss?
the general public is not even going to accept you just wilding off, whipping on your child.
And you don't know how many people by law have to call the cop, even if they agree with what you're doing, because your title as I don't know how it applies to ministers and clergy. I'm assuming they have to call if they see something. But teachers,
chaplains, therapists, it's certain people probably are mandated to, to tell or to report certain things. Like you go in a hospital and a
right?
child is being looked at for bruising, the hospital has to involve the social workers,
Yeah.
because something may be happening at home that led to this child's wounds. Simone, we're talking about the power of words, and how over time, over generations, how words are used has changed. In my childhood, one of the reasons why certain words are triggering to me, or certain phrases like get over it or whatever, I heard those things growing up. We as children being born in the 70s did not have the opportunity, at least not in my home, to say, dear mama, I need therapy. You need what? Shut up,
Nope.
sit down and pray.
Not at all.
Got a demon
Not
on
at
you.
all.
Loose here, Satan. Let her go.
Man, look.
No, I'm depressed.
If you don't act right, I'll dog walk you.
I mean, the stuff that we got said
Oh,
to us, I'm
not
telling you.
dog walk.
Yeah. Ebony
Oh.
said employees,
And that was the warning
And that's
shot.
why I have a problem. And that is why I have a problem with these creators making fun of it. Because it's not fun. It's not okay.
Making fun of what, Simone?
I've seen several creators. I think I've told you this before. I've seen several content creators making fun of these people, making fun of like situations where their child or somebody tells them they're depressed, and they're just like shoved off like it's nothing.
Well, that happened in Oxford, Michigan in 2021, where a young man, Ethan Crumley, shot up a school and killed 4 people. And in his text to his family, he had said to them, I'm hearing voices, demons, I'm seeing demons, and I need help and I need therapy. Now, what tells you need therapy? Somebody saying, I need therapy. There's subliminal messages. It's flat out, I need therapy.
Yeah.
So to make fun of a child saying that, or to make fun of a situation where a child is looking for help, even if that child, I will hope that a child would not use that in vain.
Yeah.
You have to believe them until it's proven that it's not believable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't err on this. You gotta be careful with that. Like when a person goes on Facebook and says something like, I can't take it anymore. I want to tell you all that I love you. I'm in the inbox. What's going on? Where you at?
Oh yeah.
I'll roll up. Look, no brassiere, no headscarf.
Oh Lord. You gonna roll up on them naked?
Yep.
You gonna put everything out on the open?
No teeth, no brassiere, and no hair.
Oh goodness.
Stuff like that. I don't play with y'all. I mean, I'd be like, what's up? What's happening? What's going on? And that person could be having a moment of feeling depressed, feeling deprived of love, feeling lost, and they chose to put that out there. And I'm in their inbox like, wait, I'm calling. Pick up.
Yeah.
I've lost friends to unlifing.
Yeah.
I've lost coworkers to that. So that is an automatic trigger for me.
Yeah.
When I see stuff like that, one of my coworkers, I missed the post that she did. That was her cry for help before she unlifed. I missed it. It was like a meme or like a little excerpt of why pray for people who suffer from. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you might be, oh yes, amen. I agree. No, she's saying I am person.
I'm one of those people.
I am that person. So unfortunately, within minutes of that post, she went in her garage, cut the car on, and closed the door.
Oh wow!
And the fumes took her on out of here. I will never
monoxide poisoning.
I will never forget that. And another friend of ours unlived ourselves at my job, and with the bridge being involved. I gotta be careful with Facebook, but people are in different places mentally.
I can't remember. I remember seeing a story on the news. I can't remember how long it's been. It was like a 9-year-old girl or something.
Yep.
And I think she was going through bullying.
Yes.
And she unalived herself.
Yes. At 9. Who
Yeah.
a person that young, a baby that young, would even understand the concept of that? But you got to also understand, in this age of social media, she probably is 9 in age, but she was 19 in her head. It's so much information available to our children. They coming out of the womb on a tablet.
True.
And I
almost had tablets in their bellies. I mean, I'm just saying that the tablet is in the stomach. The Lord is giving the
They
tablets
pregnant.
in heaven.
They go in the womb pregnant with a tablet.
I mean, when a child get uneasy, what they do? Take the tablet here. They shove it
And
in a
I was gonna
device
say
and
this
put it in.
to y'all that are parents. Correct me if I'm wrong. I always say to parents, "Why are you doing these type of things? Like they said, I don't want my kids walking around in cheap sneakers, but you're gonna put on $2,000 sneakers for this and wonder why they're being bullied.
Come
They got
on.
they got an expensive sneakers, they're being bullied. Cheap sneakers, they're being bullied.
Either way,
But
they're
not
gonna get.
Either way,
and
And
not
my
only
thing
are they
is,
being bullied, but now they're getting robbed and
my
beat
thing
up.
is,
yes,
my
yes.
thing is for those same parents. They're so worried about these kids dressed in high fashion. They don't, like I've said before. I've said this multiple times. They don't really give a care about their education. Like,
That's where your focus should be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with nice clothes, so I love
right?
nice clothes. But first of all, I'm not paying 2,000 for no sneakers, and I love
Come on
sneakers.
now.
Now I barely want to pay $200 for sneakers. Never mind 2,000. Now
Bad.
if I get them on a good deal, then I'm good. But I always ask parents. I said, like I said before, I was that teacher counselor that would go to their basketball game, graduation. I'm cheering like I gave birthday behind. They be like, people like, why are you yelling? That's my baby. You yell, that's my baby for like 5, 8 kids. That's because they're my baby. They my baby
Exactly.
during my baby hours.
But my thing is,
I
I
know what
don't
it's like.
have a horrible problem with what a parent chooses to buy their kid. My issue becomes what they say to their children.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what
Right.
is in terms of, but sometimes what you buy for your kid is giving a message. But my thing is when we talk about words, and in my lifetime, it was nothing for a child to get berated by their parent. I've had my mother, no shade, embarrass me so bad in front of my friends that I just want to shrivel up and just unlife. I'm gonna be honest. But and it's like the power behind it, the spirit behind the words. Why? Why would a parent need to go that far and embarrassing their children? What is happening in their brain, or what has happened to them in their generation that makes them feel that is okay?
Yes.
And
That's
you
my
said it
concern.
before. They haven't got over what they were dealing with as kids, which
Ebony,
Yep.
you
is sad.
welcome to speak your mind, sister. And we got a spot up on the screen. If you want the link, Ebony,
Come on,
Go
Miss
ahead,
Williams.
Ebony.
you
Let's
got
do it.
By
open invitation here. But my
Let's
thing
do
is
it.
this: when it comes to what we say to our children, and every generation is different, and every child is different in terms of there's no cookie cutter, one size fit all way of parenting. A mother and father, if the father's available, whatever, has to be willing to number one, and one of my guests, one of my first guests on my show, Teresa Callahan, brought this up when I asked her about parenting. And she said, going even from conception and from the womb, her and her husband asked God to show them how to
Mhm.
parent their unborn children. They were praying and interceding for those kids and for themselves, and knowing how to parent even before those kids got here. I don't think we're doing that. I think we assume that we will just know how when they arrive. But
no.
if we're not praying, educating ourselves, we really need a parent support group. We need to be having parental classes. One of my other guests, Marche Calhoun, is an educator, and she does parenting classes, not just new parents, parents, period. We
So
need to
when
be
you
educated. Go ahead, Simone.
so when you say they won't just learn when the child gets here, which is that's not the same as saying learn as you go, or like that's not the
No,
same, right?
it's not the same because what child came with an instruction booklet?
Okay.
Mhm.
None of us can. We didn't come When we was born, to our parents, we didn't come with an instruction booklet. And when our children were born, they didn't come with an instruction booklet. So mostly it was that's OJT, that's on the job training.
On the job training. And there is definitely going to be trial and error.
That's why I was saying, like, learn as you go. Because I know it was like
basic skills, though. There are, when you go to school and you get a degree, that is a degree of knowledge. It's not saying if you do everything I say, you're going to be a guaranteed doctor, a guaranteed lawyer, a guaranteed great this. But there are some basic fundamental things you must know if you plan on pursuing a career in this area. So I think that we need to rally around each other when children are born to make sure that parents have at least some basic stuff. And then that the basics on top of the OJT, the on the job training, can be helpful on top of the prayer, the concept of a family being around you and teaching you and guiding you. It has to be all these things in operation. I want to address Ebony's comment. She says, too much to type. What I will say is this: I will not be ashamed for what I buy my child. And I get that. I think the point that was being made is a lot of times when children are given whatever they want and extravagant things without the lessons, the life lessons that go with them, you create spoiled, bratty kids. Spoiled, bratty kids turn into spoiled, bratty adults. And you're right, Evan. You can buy your kid whatever you want.
I hope I didn't offend Ebony.
Oh, she got tough skin. She's. I don't think she would be offended, but I understand what she's saying. I see both sides. But I think from my point of view is we have to realize that child ain't gonna just be with us the rest of their life. So what I do for them,
you know what they deserve, what they earn. You gotta do what's right for your household. If it works in your house, buying that expensive stuff, go for it. But if your kids are not doing, and strictly, I don't have kids, so it's a matter of my opinion. That's why I said, as parents, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. If your child got all F's in school, why do they have $2,000 sneakers?
And see, and Ebony's child is the opposite. Her grades are superb. So the way Ebony's daughter, I do know both of them personally. She's been spectacular in school from kindergarten orientation, and now high school. Grades always top notch in every club you could think of. So in many cases, the child's performance and dedication to their schooling would warrant certain purchases.
That's the
That's the difference. There, Now you got
I can get with that.
Not doing nothing. That's not even going to school. That's always truant. You can't find Riri and Ray and you keep throwing all this stuff at them. And then there is no consequence. So if
when they actually show up to school, like she said, they got like $2,000 shoes and all this other stuff.
If I can get all this stuff and not even go to school, I can do even worse and get even better. Because kids are watching our patterns. Kids know their parents' patterns. All they gotta do is beg and say, "Mama, please, Mama, Mama." Oh, call here. Goodness, God, please. Kids know what to do, but in this particular case, I see both sides. Ebony's daughter has been raised superbly. Education has been huge, and she has performed everything she puts her hands to. She has excelled in. So I can certainly understand Ebony wanting to reward the hard work.
That's totally different. You're sitting there by your child. You're a parent. That's good. And again, I don't have kids. I only can say how I see me and my mother. I know my mother was a single parent and had to work, but it sure would have been nice if she was at school functions. So
kids need that. See, Ebony's in the school every day, but kids need to see their families involved in their well-being beyond the home. When you have a parent that's involved in your life in terms of your schooling, your extracurricular activities, that sends a powerful message, just as your absence sends a powerful message. I don't care I don't care what you're doing. And the teachers are calling the school. I mean, calling the home. Like, your child didn't show up to this. Oh, I don't know where he at. I don't know where he at. I don't know what he be doing. I don't know what he's saying. Yes, Ebony, I'm gonna send you the link. Check your messenger in about 2 seconds.
See, the funny thing with that is like, so just as we talk about the parents' presence has an effect, just also we're talking about the parents' absence has an effect.
Yep.
Also, it's the words that come behind that have an effect as well. Because if you had a parent that wasn't always available for extracurricular activities and things of that nature, and you know that you're a student and you're doing well, and your parent doesn't show up for that, and for a lot of these extracurricular activities, these are big deals for these
Yeah.
kids, for some of these kids. I mean, for them, it's their escape from whatever part of the other part of life that they're dealing with, football, baseball, or whatnot. And when a parent doesn't show up to that type of event, you know what type of message, what type of nonverbal message that's sending.
Wow.
I don't care. I don't care about I don't care what you do. I don't care about your achievements in the classroom. I don't care about your achievements on the field. As long as you come home and you do what I tell you to do, and you support me,
And even if
everything
you
that you
don't
do is
come
null
home,
and
I ain't
void.
gonna look for you. How about those
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
parents?
I ain't finna check for you. I ain't finna
Ooh,
look for you. I ain't finna check for you. I'm not even finna even pay you no attention.
that sends a loud message. It
The
does.
loudest message in the room. It's
And I remember going to Gabby's. I didn't go to everything, and I felt bad that I didn't go to more. But what I did go to consistently when I needed to be at the parent teacher conferences, the teacher told me, like, you one of the few parents that will reach out through email. If you can't physically be here, you're emailing me, asking for updates.
Right.
Do that. I'm keeping some kind of communication. Because I worked in a call center, and as a manager, sometimes it was hard because parent teacher conferences was in like the heart of the time that our call center was busy. But she was like, you would be surprised that the majority of these parents that don't even work don't come up here, don't even
no.
have jobs. But
I'm
they
not
don't
surprised. I used to work in that environment. I'm not surprised.
Wow, that's
But
And
that's
they
a
perfect.
weren't
shame though.
bad parents. They just made stupid choices. I mean, you
Mm.
could say
Well,
they were bad, but they didn't prioritize, is my opinion.
And that's
having a kid.
hurtful.
Well, having a kid to me isn't a stupid choice. It's a choice, of course. It's not a stupid one, but
No,
how
that's
you
not what I
choose.
meant with stupid choices. They were just doing other
No, I
stupid
know, I know.
things. Okay.
You said it right. So
choose.
the priorities
Yeah,
weren't
Mhm.
there. And I hate
but
to keep bringing this up with this Crumbly case. When Ethan, the
yeah,
day of the shooting, he was doodling guns on his worksheets, blood, and the words "help me."
Wow.
They contacted the parents, brought them up to the school. They
I
sat
remember
down
that story.
and
Oh,
they
yeah.
told them that we would like him to have some type of help. I believe they might have said in today or the next 24 hours, and the response was, "We have to go to work."
Oh
Uh,
my
Yeah.
God.
so
see
Yeah.
okay,
that. See, and
so
that's
they
a
they
perfect
left him in
example of what I was
school.
talking about.
They left him in school.
Perfect example.
Your job,
And that's what happened. That's why all that happened.
your job, and they even cross-examined the wife's job, and the boss was like, there was nothing that was going on at our place of employment that was that serious. She's left before for her son, so she chose to say, I got to get to work.
Right.
The father was a
My
door
money is more
dasher.
important than my child.
The father was a door dasher, sir.
Wow.
You DoorDash when you DoorDash. You could come on. So you saying
Wow.
you couldn't take your son to get some psychiatric help and then go back to DoorDash that night or the next day? No, you didn't prioritize your son. And because of your negligence, 4 beautiful souls are no
Think about
longer
the
here.
ones in Connecticut up here and Sandy Hook.
Oh
20,
yeah,
was it 20 kids and
Crazy.
6 adults? And
yeah.
their parents had actually had guns in the house or bought him a gun.
Oh yeah, I heard that one. I think.
Yeah.
Is that the one about the 6-year-old?
It was 20 kids and 6 adults in Sandy
Yeah,
Hook, Connecticut.
Wow.
that was bad. That was really bad.
And that's
Yeah.
the one
And
on the news they saying it's a conspiracy theory. Those kids were actors. That's the one you hear them saying, the politicians, that TV journalists who had to pay some type of fine or something for the lies he said about the families of the deceased kids and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Or did
Okay.
y'all hear about the one? I think he was a 6-year-old, and he unalived his teacher.
6, Simone?
I believe he was
I think
6.
he was a young kid.
I believe he was about 6. If I can remember the news, what they said, I believe he was 6.
It was a
And for
couple
some
of
reason, I don't remember the reason, but they said he unalived his teacher.
It was a couple of them, but I know it was in Sandy Hook. I think it was a young teen kid.
did you see that message, LSG?
Sure did. I'm on it.
Okay.
We had a couple. It's just, like I said, it's just, at this day and age, I think the one you were talking about might have been the one where they didn't understand how a gun got past school security in that 6-year-old thing.
Yeah, that might be the one. Okay.
And then the other one was when the family, he had mental disorders too, but the family didn't do nothing. They either bought him a gun, took him hunting and whatever have you, or they just had guns lying aimlessly around the house. Who does that?
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Let me put a bookmark right there. We all view culturally, I guess guns are different to different cultures. For me,
Right.
it's a whole boys in the hood, duck under the table. I don't want no. We don't hunt where I come from. We ain't hunting nothing. If we do catch a turkey or something, he coming home for dinner.
Okay.
I mean, for me in my household, we never had guns. Wasn't even, come on. But some cultures, no shade, some cultures are really big on hunting. And I don't have a problem with that, but there's still, even in the Crumley case it came out, there's laws and regulations in keeping your gun safe and keeping them away from children. And when you don't do that, and even then, when this child was writing on his paper, he didn't draw him shooting a deer and saying, "Oh, I love to hunt." No, we're talking blood, guts, and the words "help me."
Yeah.
Help
I think
me. So if that
think
wasn't
when-
enough to get him home for the day and avoid these 4 deaths, I don't know.
now
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this as because I'm number one. I mean, and this is not an all encompassing thing with
Right.
people. Now, for the vast majority of people, gun culture is something that is very much celebrated. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of people that celebrate the Second Amendment, which for those who don't know, gives us the right to bear arms. However, this is the one thing that I really want to say, and I want to put this out there, and this is the honest thing with me, and me and my brother have talked about this on so many occasions, and we both come to the same conclusion with this. And because people always say guns. No, just let's eliminate the guns for a second.
Okay.
It's not the guns that kill people. It's the
people.
person. It's the person behind the trigger.
Yeah.
It's the person looking through their scope with the intent to harm.
Right.
That does that. Now, to the opposite of that, the person that's behind that trigger, the person that's in that scope, can also have the intent to protect. But there's this line. The line is, with me, is so muddied that it doesn't matter which side you look at it from. It's always going to be the bad. Always going to be the bad side. I can be all pro guns and still be looked at as crazy by somebody who doesn't embrace that type of thing. And the onus really is on the parents and the adults in the house to enforce
Right.
and practice gun safety. Have us and have a safe and have a gun safe in your home that only you as the parent can open.
Right.
Putting a weapon in a shoebox is kind of stupid.
And
I'm just
as
gonna put
Ebony
that out.
said, there's gun safety because she said she grew up in a home of hunters, and I guess every family is different. There's different cultures within our culture. All Black people don't eat fried chicken.
Nope.
All Black people don't eat watermelon. I mean, even amongst African Americans, we have different family culture. I
Exactly.
was around guns. If there
Nope.
was guns, I didn't know anything about it.
I mean,
But that's what
it
you
has,
do. It's just a matter of the gun safety.
yeah.
And in this case, this young man was given one as a minor, which you can do that under the hunting part of this and going for a gun range. But when he was given this gun to pacify him, he wanted one so bad. I wouldn't give a mentally disturbed young man that's having some challenges on that level a gun.
But see that's the thing. That's the thing, sis.
Bless you, dear.
Bless you. What people don't understand is there's a enormous responsibility that goes with that.
Indeed.
And when I say enormous, I mean enormous because and I think we've all seen instances where you got a good guy with a gun that neutralizes an attacker or something like that.
Mhm.
But a lot of people don't know there's still legal ramifications behind that.
Absolutely.
There's still legal ramifications behind that.
I don't think we understand that when we go to take a gun and just, do whatever we want with it haphazardly.
But we gotta understand those legal ramifications, sis. We got to, because
if you're gonna deal with guns, you have to.
Yeah. If you don't, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer the consequences. You're gonna suffer the consequences of that. When in Georgia, here in my state of Georgia, we have what's called constitutional carry, which means you can carry your weapon without a permit or a license.
Really?
Yeah. However,
never heard of that.
For those of us who own guns, we do it the legal way.
Okay.
Have the permit, have the license that protects you, but also have some form of insurance that will be able to get you that you'll be able to have counsel in the case of when you discharge that firearm in a self-defense in a defensive situation. A lot of people don't understand that even if you discharge a firearm in a defensive situation, there are still legal ramifications that come with it.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Absolutely. And you would, if you're going to do that, if you choose to do hunting, or if you choose to have a gun for self-defense, you have the legal, mandate to make sure you're doing so in a safe way. That's why I guess if you are licensed to carry and maybe you get pulled over, maybe it's a good idea to tell the cop up front, I'm licensed to carry that, and instead of him or her just frisking you and finding it and assuming you're going to be a threat to them. I mean, it can go wrong real fast. And when you have a home that's in some type of or it was in the drawer up under my Levi's. No, that ain't good enough, sir.
Nope.
But it goes back to the words.
It has to be
loud. Back to the words.
And kids are smart. And in one case I read, a toddler ended up stumbling upon one and unlifed their small sibling, of course, by mistake, thinking, "Oh." And I'm at a point now where back in the day, as children, toy guns was everything. But now, I just it's something creepy about it. Where we even cops and robbers was the biggest thing for kids to play, especially boys. As a child, cops and robbers, bang bang, bang bang. I mean, but now in 2024, I don't know. I guess
it's crazy.
But it goes back to the topic of our conversation: words. If somebody can say the wrong word to somebody, And I know y'all have all heard this phrase, I'm going to the trunk. All I said was I'm sorry. It goes back to words. It goes back to words and actions. You know.
And the spirit behind it.
Yep.
That spirit behind it. Yeah. If you mean to harm.
Yeah.
Because it makes you think, is it even safe to buy your kids G.I. Joe toys anymore? Because of the guns that.
You have to understand, but I think when buying toys like that, you have to understand the spirit of buying a toy.
Right.
And why you're buying a toy. If it's to keep the child entertained, then of course.
I ask this to parents. Have any of y'all ever bought like a G.I. Joe or something, and those that have boys, and your kids' friends' parents had an issue with a certain type of toy you had in the house, whether it's a PlayStation game with a gun? Did you have to adjust what type of games you let your kids play when their friends came over?
I haven't had that situation.
That's a good question.
To be honest in that, I hardly let my child go anywhere. I'm just gonna be. I mean,
but when her friends came over to your house, I mean, you're different. So I was in the video games. I was in the Mortal Kombat and all
Me
of those.
too.
Like,
welcome, Ebony.
Hey, Ebony.
I used to be down with my cousins when they played Grand Theft Auto. Oh yeah, me and them playing that.
Video games, the video games make G.I. Joe look like Captain Kangaroo. That Mortal Kombat is a
Call of Duty
snatcher. That thing, come on now. That
my cousins all into Call of Duty all day. My cousins will play Call of Duty like it's no tomorrow.
Well, I've had that issue with my ex's stepchild when we had games, I'm a gamer. Everybody knows that. But I had to be very cognizant of what games I bought or what games I played, because and I was the one that played the Grand Theft Auto, the Call of Duties and stuff like that, because number one, I'm over 18, so I can play stuff like that. So it doesn't mess. So it ain't gonna make a difference to me because I can discern make believe from reality.
Right.
But when it comes to kids, on the other hand, they can't always discern make believe from reality, and they think that when they play games like Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty, that is reality, and that's not there. And it can have that type of consequences.
Yeah,
I was like, and I had to be careful about what I bought and what I pulled in here. I'm like, okay, let me not buy this game, and let me buy this game. I'll buy it for me and play it when everybody's asleep, but then I'll buy this game for them to kind of appease them. Right. Which is why I was glad as they got older, they decided they moved to more sports titles like Madden and 2K and stuff like that. And I was happy because I dodged a big old bullet, because I was like, oh Lord, thank God. They only want to play sports games, so I'm happy.
Right.
One question. Do you think that switch over to sports game had to do with the conversation y'all as parents have had with them? Or was it a natural choice?
It was a natural choice for them because they saw me play Madden and 2K more than the other games, and they wanted to get involved in that. Of course, I had a second controller, so come on, we can make it a competition, and that became
right.
That became the norm in our house afterwards.
Okay,
you know, it was.
So I hear you set an example for them, because you could have easily played the other stuff and they could have seen that. True. But it sounds like you made a decision to set a good example to them.
Yeah,
that's how it sounds to me.
Right.
It was, and it became the norm in our house at that point. I come home from work, I get settled. They pulled me into the den. Hey, you want to play Madden with us? Oh man, come on! I'll whoop all y'all, and I'll whoop all y'all.
I want to bring Ebony into the conversation. I want to go back to what we were talking about before, because Ebony was saying,
hi, Miss Ebony,
that she could say,
hi.
Ebony, welcome to Critical Conversations tonight. Thank you for being in the chat and now on screen with us. I want to go back to our discussion about what we buy our children and what message that sends. And I want to give you a chance to verbally kind of address your thoughts on that. Let's go.
I appreciate that. what I want to say is first and foremost, please understand I am not. Tanya told you all I have very thick skin, very, 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 very thick. Um, like big back thick skin.
Dang.
So nothing that anybody here is going to say is going to offend me. And I hope to not offend anybody else. Um, I was very deliberate in that I knew that I was not going to be a parent early in my 20s
Mm-hmm.
because it was all about me. I was very, very selfish,
Okay.
and I was okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did not become a parent until 4 months before I turned 30.
Okay.
In which case, I have to say that I grew up as a child to a single mother, and I had everything that my heart desired.
Okay.
Um, I, I I went to private school. I wore designer clothes. I had everything Barbie ever made. I had 11 Cabbage Patches. Like
Come on, Cabbage Patch.
I lived I lived a very nice, cushiony life. I did not know what Goodfellas was until I was in college, and my college roommates told me about Goodfellas. I didn't know about um, boxed macaroni and cheese and stuff like that. Like that wasn't my life, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, and so, when I had my own child, that wasn't her life either.
Mm.
Tanya said, that my daughter is, very good in school, and that's an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Anything that I ask her to do as far as school wise is concerned, she does it. She is not in a dual enrollment program. She's in a middle college program, which
Mm-hmm.
means that
Ooh.
she finished high school in 2 years, and the
Wow.
other 2 years she did college. So when
Mm.
she graduates this May, she graduates with both her high school diploma and credits from Eastern Michigan University,
Right.
Praise God.
a
Yes.
not from a community college, which there's nothing wrong with community college, but she didn't do that. She went to a university, and she's been on the university campus since ninth grade. So when I buy her whatever I buy her, um, that's between me and my pocketbook and
Mm-hmm.
what I feel like she deserves.
Right.
And
Right.
I feel that she deserves these things because as a senior in high school, she's also on the dean's list at college,
Wow.
right?
That's
And
amazing.
so for someone to say, you know, you might be spending too much. I feel like you have to be very careful when you make a blanket statement like that, and that you might spend too much, but I'm
They have
spending
to know
enough.
you before they make that statement too. Like, I don't know you, so I can't make that statement to you. That's
Mm-hmm.
where I think Latanya might be able to say that because you know each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
if you don't
but
know the person, you have to be careful.
what I
Mm-hmm.
also want to say though is that we also might want to be careful. When I didn't have children, I didn't speak about children
Mm.
because
That is
that's something that's
fact.
something that's very, very sensitive,
True.
and you may think it's a way until you get into that situation and you become a parent, and then you see that it's something totally, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice is that you may have an opinion, because we all have opinions,
We do.
but you may not necessarily want to say it out loud because you might eat those words when and if you ever become a parent.
Or if you do say it, you would preface it with like Sanette always says, I don't have kids, but this is
If
what I've
I'm wrong,
observed
let me know
because
I'm
we have
wrong because
our observations. Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, I tell me my ideas might be wrong based on not having kids. Because again, like she said, I say that. And I always try to say I'm not here. I can't tell nobody how to raise their kids. Because
Mm-hmm.
for that simple fact, I don't have kids. And even if I had them, my views might be different than your views. Even
Right.
people with kids might raise their kids differently. So whether you have them or not, you still have to be careful how you talk to somebody, unless you're
But even
super
when you
close.
work with kids, I mean that does give you a certain vantage point. You may not have them, but even
Indeed.
working with them, you kind of get to know them. Because I
But
know
legally, I have to, like
dog,
she said, though, Ebony is right. Because
mhm,
even though I work with these kids and me and their parents grew up together, so some
okay,
of those parents I can say certain things to because we're childhood friends, but
right,
I had to say them off the clock. I couldn't say them at the job. When I
hmm
got home, I can go to their house or they come to my house. But at work, I couldn't say half of what I was thinking or answer their question. So I do agree you have to be very careful and know who you're talking to. And
hmm
I do agree you have to be very careful because you never know what kind of person day that person is having. And they might just jump on you and you're just trying to be a good friend, but they might not need a friend that day. They
Well,
might
somebody
need to
can
be
have
in a
12 kids, 13 grandchildren, and 4 great grands, and still say, I think she's spending a little bit too much on that child. Because everybody's just going to have their own opinion, period,
Mhm.
based on their experiences.
Based on their experience.
And
Yes,
it's
Tanya.
Right.
all
And
based
so
on
the
what
I've
they
heard
have
that saying way too
experienced.
many times. You can't tell me how to parent if you don't have kids, which I think is true because
Mhm.
I don't even have kids, but I've
Right,
worked in daycares and I've experienced a lot within the daycare industry, and it's like, oh my goodness.
right.
But we have to be cognizant. But we have to be cognizant of how that is framed,
We do,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
because every all the words that we say, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, they are framed, and they're we as human beings, we frame those words in our mind, and we perceive it as either good, bad, indifferent, and our reactions are either good, bad, or indifferent. So we have to be, I won't say careful of how we frame words, but
Mhm,
I think
cognizant.
very cognizant, because
cognizant,
the sender can say it one way, the
But
receiver
my
can
filter
receive
might filter it differently.
Yeah,
right.
exactly,
yeah.
and that's what
And
I mean by framing.
I'm not responsible for your filter. I'm only responsible for what I say.
Hmm.
Right,
Exactly,
However,
right.
I have to be responsible for what I say.
And
Mhm,
that's
exactly.
where when that's where this you have to what is it? It's not how you say it. It's not what you say. It's how you say. That's
mhm.
where that comes in because it's like y'all been saying. It's just the way you put it, not necessarily what you say, but how you say it.
Right. And
I've
think
had to
about
learn
this. If you have a family of means that is able to afford to give their children the best of things, there's
that.
no problem in that. But even in
Not at all.
that, there are certain life lessons
Yeah.
that you want to teach your child, even as yes, you are born into you're born into a Hilton family, you're born into the Ford family. So you're gonna get the best of everything. They're not taking their children to the thrift shop, okay?
Mhm.
That's they're probably not. But even in giving them the best of everything, there's still ways you can say, now listen, you are blessed, we are blessed. But people out here don't have may not have what you have. I just want to let you know
Yeah.
as you get older, I want to start teaching you some things. They can buy whatever they want to buy, but as parents, we have to make sure we're doing some teaching in this too. Because I've seen some real spoiled rich kids. I'm just gonna be honest. I ain't
Hmm.
jealous, but they don't even know. I thought everybody had that. No, dear, everyone doesn't get dropped off in a Lamborghini to school.
Hmm.
But
But you know what else is?
just I'm sorry. But along with that, Tanya, though, um, sometimes, and I'll just speak for me. When I said that I didn't know what certain things were,
Hmm.
I grew up on Schoolcraft and Piedmont.
Okay,
You know where that is.
I do.
The rest of you may not know Detroit, but I grew up outside of Brightmoor, which is not the best area,
Especially now.
right?
It's definitely
Especially now. I grew outside of um, Rosedale Park,
not.
which
Okay.
was an affluent area. So I
Very
was in between an affluent area and a have-not area.
okay.
But I,
Mm,
we did okay, and so it's
Mhm.
not my fault that I didn't know what the ones on this side had or didn't have, because
That is true. That's true.
fortunately I did. And but what I do know is that I was never taught to look down on anybody, right?
Okay.
Exactly.
And
Okay.
I
Yeah,
was always taught
that's
that you
good.
talk to the president the same way you talk to the janitor. You
Yes.
talk to all these people the same way. And so I made my business that my child, from the time that she was able to walk, she has
Hmm.
to do community service.
Yes.
Right.
That's a must.
Mm,
She does community service at
yeah.
least 10 hours a month,
Wow.
period. And
Wow. I like that.
she's 18 years old. She has
Wow.
been doing that for her entire life. We don't go around broadcasting it because it's not anybody else's business, but
Right.
she does it.
Mhm.
I'm so proud of her.
So, so, I just want, I guess I, I, I kind of sometimes feel a way, when, because I do, Tanya did say, I'm in school, I work in the high school that she goes to. And so I see, a lot of different things, and I see kids that have, and I see kids that don't have, because
Mhm.
we live in a lake community, right? And
Yes.
so we live where people live in $250,000 homes, and
Yes.
then right down the street, the house looks like a junkyard,
Yes.
like
Yes.
literally
Literally
in the same
the same
block,
community.
right?
Mm.
And so
Point,
and
Evan.
so you have kids who are driving to school in Audis, and then you have kids who still ride the bus to school.
Right.
And so we have to teach them, and I do my part, and I hope that other people do their part. But we, like you all have said, we all come from different backgrounds, and we all teach
Yes.
something different. And so
Yes.
I think it's just really important that even that kid that has those F's, maybe you might not think they deserve whatever it is that their parent bought, but
Mhm.
we have to be cognizant and very, very careful as to not say that,
Mhm.
Right. That's
um,
true. I agree.
that they don't deserve it, because maybe they brought that F up from absolutely nothing. Maybe that is an
Right.
improvement.
That's a good point. That's a
Maybe
good
that
point.
is an improvement. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
But
I see so much. I see
I'm sure
so
you
much.
do.
I
but
sit on
one
boards to reinstate children back into the school district because they've done something that got them expelled from the district. And these are not always children who come from one parent homes. Sometimes these are children that come from affluence,
Mhm.
and they do dumb stuff. And this is not how they were raised, but because they're kids, they did something dumb. And now they have to this is what they have to deal with. Right.
mm,
Right.
So we can't always just look at something and say, well, why are they being given that? Or why didn't they get that? Because we don't know the ins and outs.
Mhm.
And some of us are privy to things that other people just don't know.
Right. But my
exactly.
concern, Ebony, is this. When I see situations where a child, and not necessarily even child per se, if they're living at home and they're 18 and over, and they've been given whatever they've wanted all of their lives, but never asked to clean, never made to help cook, never made to help contribute, but yet they're showered with things. Where are the lessons that teach the child, um, to help my family out, to help?
You can't teach that child that if that parent didn't learn it.
Mm,
And if that parent is doing that, then obviously they missed the learning process themselves. So you
mm,
can't hold that child responsible for something that their parent didn't teach them.
That is true.
mm.
We
That is
didn't we if we didn't need parents, we wouldn't have come with parents.
right.
Yes?
This is true. This
Okay,
is
so you can't hold me accountable for something that my mom isn't teaching me and I still live in her house.
right.
That's
Right.
my mom's fault,
Right. I agree with that. And
right?
I wonder why people do that. What would make a person?
Because I'm gonna tell you why. When I
Okay.
was little and when you were little, Tanya, because we the same age,
Mhm.
my mother worked until, well, she worked at home. She was a hairdresser until I was 10 years old. And then once I was 10, she went outside of the home and worked. So when she did that,
Okay.
there were responsibilities that I had to take on, right? I had to cook for
Yeah.
myself. And I don't have any siblings. My mother doesn't have any other kids, right? So I had to come in, take care of myself, clean the house, right? You didn't go outside until that
Yeah.
house was clean,
Yeah.
right? And we didn't just, have to
Absolutely.
we not only did we wash the walls, we had to do the baseboards and
Okay,
That
we
don't
had to
let no
clean.
dirt be in that corner.
that's
Yeah,
real
we had to
cleaning.
clean, clean, right? And so
Uh-huh.
a lot of people feel like why did I have to do all of that? That was
Mm,
too much. So my kid don't have to do all that. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt like it was a lot. I felt like that was a whole lot, but I did what I had to do because that was my mom and I did it. My child has to clean up. She does have to clean her room. She does have to clean her bathroom. She does have to do, certain things, but she don't have to clean the whole house. She don't have to cook for the whole family.
right.
That's not her
Now that sounds
responsibility.
reasonable compared to
Is
my
that a
child.
delicate balance? Is that the balance?
I
Where you
think that's a reasonable balance,
mm-hmm.
especially considering everything else she's doing. That's a reasonable balance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up as a kid where I had two younger brothers in the house. I had to come home, cook, make sure everybody did what they supposed to do. I'm like, I didn't give birth to these kids, but on the one hand, I hated it, but on another hand, I appreciate the lessons I learned on cleaning, keeping a clean house, money management, even though I still messed up. I learned a lot of things, but I still hated the hard work. But
Wow.
I appreciate the lessons, but I just hated doing it.
Mm,
How
mm,
crazy
And I
is that?
think you can. I think you can be. And I think my mom did a great job, you know, of what she taught me, and how I had to step in. That was fine, but that's what we had to do then. We don't have to do it that way today.
Yeah.
The way that a lot of people talk about soft parenting and stuff like that. I'm not a yeller because I didn't like being yelled at. So because I didn't like for my mother to yell at me, I don't yell at my own child. But she knows when I'm not playing with her. She
wow.
knows that I'm gonna only tell you one time. I'm not gonna repeat it. Because if
Mm,
I have to come through with a repeat, then it's not gonna be nice,
mm.
right? So
Stern
I
yet
think
fair.
That was my upbringing.
so it's different. So they'll say, "Oh, you doing that soft parenting?" I'm not soft parenting. I'm just not yelling like you did.
But
See?
see, the thing of it is, how can people even fix their mouth to call that soft parenting when they don't see, they don't know the day to day of how you and your daughter interact with each other. They can't call it that if they're not, if they ain't the fly on the wall looking at everything, right?
I agree, and I think that they only say that because they whoop their child brain till their brain fall out, whereas you just say, "Hey, can you have the dishes done by the time I get home?"
There's a way to get a child to do something without being a hard ass about it.
It sure is.
I'm
They didn't
just
know
saying.
that back in the 80s though, brother Fred. I'm sorry.
I know that because
And I think you have to know your
we
kid.
all
Everybody
Ain't
has
know
to
that.
know. You have to know your kid. Some kids do need whoopings. I probably was one of them ones that
yeah, me
I
too.
don't think I
Me
did.
too.
I'm gonna be honest. I
I'm
think I got
I'm
it
gonna tell the
in
truth.
my
I'm gonna
bosom.
tell the truth and shame the devil.
I don't think I
All the whoopings, probably 80% of them I deserve. I really did. Um,
Shoot. I'm gonna say
because I
90.
was
I'm gonna say zero.
okay. We'll go higher. We'll say 90, but because I was bad, not bad. I was a liar, but not a
No,
good
I was
one.
bad.
But not a good one. My mother would say, "Did you break my ashtray?" And I would say, "No." And she say, "You sure you didn't break my ashtray?" And I say, "No. Nobody lives here but me and you. You didn't break the ashtray?" No. So I'm gonna go down with my lie because I started with the lie, so I'm gonna end with the lie. Right? And so that's what I'm gonna get in trouble with because I'm not gonna come back and say no, I didn't do it. Whereas with my child, I say, "Did you break such and such?" And she'll say, "I can't lie, mom, I did it." Okay, well,
Wow.
you
Bless
shouldn't do that.
her. I cannot
So
tell a lie.
yeah, so it's totally different, the way. So I deserve those whoopings, but I didn't have to beat up on my kid because she gonna tell me the truth. Yes, I did it. Why did you do it? Because I felt like it.
But you know what? As a parent, you like,
Honest answer.
because a parent, you like, yeah, because I know that my stepkid's like, what? You told it. Hold on, wait a minute. And see that for me, if they tell the truth, that's almost like my brain shuts down for a minute. Like I don't even know how to respond to that.
Mm.
And then I'll be like, look, just go in your room for a second. Let me figure out how to punish you.
Right.
I mean, because
But then you can't punish them because you want them to tell you the truth.
Yes.
So you're like,
It's
okay,
a
you told me
delicate
the
balance.
truth.
It's a delicate balance.
And so you're like, okay, you told me the truth. So I'm thanking you for that, but I have to tell you that this part what you did was wrong. So we got to fix this part. So for this part you're in trouble, but for telling me the truth, you get a sticker. Like
But
it's almost like,
nowadays, when it comes to parenting, at least for me, I can't speak for anybody else. Gabrielle is a very smart cookie.
mhm.
She'll say, "But mom, you said this, but you did this."
Mhm.
I can't be mad. Like, man, you're right. I
reverse
apologize.
psychology.
I ain't even. I mean, man, I can't even be mad at certain things because she's very observant, and
Very. She's
we
been
talk
very
about
observant her whole life.
kids need to have a demonstrative parenting experience. When I grew up, it's just do as I say, don't ask no questions. Shut up and do it.
Exactly.
That's what I grew up
Exactly.
on. That doesn't work right now. Go ahead, Simone.
I just want to know why some parents they like put it in your head that you need to always tell the truth. Honesty is the best policy, whatever. But then, like when you tell the truth, they get upset.
Because sometimes the truth hurts.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so like she gave the example. Did you break my glass? Whatever. Yeah, I broke it. What the? They go off just cussing all the letters in the
And that's
alphabet.
that's to me, that's someone that's not that may not be 100% emotionally
And
stable.
but the thing is,
That is true.
I'm just
the
gonna be
thing is,
honest.
Exactly.
you want me to tell you, yes, I broke it. Because
Mhm.
if I told you no, you would still get
I'm
mad.
lying, and now I got to get a whooping.
Right. But you
I
want me
told
to
you I
Get no
did it, and
whooping
I'm still
anyway,
right.
so
getting
why
beat
tell
up.
the
So I'm
truth?
telling you I did it just to so I
Can
can
I say
avoid all
this?
that.
There's a lot of parents in the world today, yesterday, and forevermore that have emotional instability.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be because I've been
You
there.
understand? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's like some parents were like, okay, did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm like, the person was like, yeah, I did this and da 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 whatever. And they were like, and then they just go slam off. I'm like,
Something
I
ain't
told
right.
the
Something
truth.
ain't right with the emotions.
Yeah.
Well,
And
If
then
you
also
want
that
your
too,
child to be honest,
I didn't
and
have that problem.
you're gonna have to
We didn't have
accept
that
the
problem
honesty. You're
in
gonna
our
have to
household.
accept the truth. I'm not saying there's no consequence. Yes, you told the truth. I still gotta punish you. But for me to fly off the handle for doing what I taught you to do,
Right.
nah,
right.
that's
And
not gonna
I
fly.
think also
Or ask me a question and then tell me to shut up before I answer the question.
See, something ain't right. We need some therapy or something. No,
I'm not saying I dealt with that. I'm just saying, like, you ask me a question, and then before I can even open my mouth to answer the question, you tell me to shut up. Like, what?
that's something ain't right. And it
That's
probably ain't got nothing to do with you. Something has happened that
exactly.
day. Real talk. Sometimes when parents, I have had to have these
And I'm
discussions.
looking at them like, but you
They'd
just
have had a
asked
bad
me.
day, and you the closest thing to them, and you got the brunt
Yep.
of it.
I'm looking at them
That's the
like,
bad
you
part
just
of it.
asked me, did I do this or did I do what this, whatever, and I didn't even open my mouth to answer the question yet, and you just
Mhm.
shut up.
You got all the aggression they wanted to give their boss.
Exactly.
and you know what else and I made a very conscious decision when I had my child not to cuss. I do not cuss at her. If I say a cuss word, ooh wee, I'm like way past 10 because that's not my normal conversation, right?
See.
And so it bothers me when I hear people speak to their kids that way, even if they are teenagers,
Right.
because I feel like there's a better way for you to converse with them.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but once again, who am I to tell you how to talk to your child? All I can say is there is a
Mm-hmm.
such thing as verbal
That's a point
abuse,
too.
and that falls within the
Mm-hmm.
verbal abuse category. So, you might be the perfect parent
Mm,
on one end, but if you're cussing your children, mm, you know, that
But
is
then,
verbal
but for
abuse.
some parents, that's the only language they know, and for some children, that's the only language that they'll respond to.
that's so sad though.
But if that's
That's
the
so
only
sad
language they'll respond to, it's because that's the only language that you've given them.
that you've
And if
ever given.
as an
Yeah.
adult, and
Yeah.
if as an adult, if that's the only language that you know, guess what? Most people have a telephone in their pocket. That's a 500 to $1,000 computer in their pocket. If
Mm-hmm.
that's all that you know, you can look it up and find other words. There's a thesaurus,
Mm-hmm.
there's a dictionary. Google works all day, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah,
you
that's true.
choose to be ignorant, that's your choice. It's
If
not the
you
way that
learn
it
more
has to be
knowledge.
in 2024.
With these
That's true.
upbringings, when you look at some of the people's upbringings, I've talked to people, y'all, that have been raised in homes where it was all cussing, all fussing, never a kind word spoken. And that's why some of these children are coming to school with this jump off spirit. They don't know what peace looks or sounds like.
And
Mhm.
that's true, Tanya.
And that
Dysfunction.
hurts. That hurts me. When I was doing some mentoring in Brightmoor, one of the schools, trying to get the young man to calm down and sit still. He was just so, he's used to everything going around him. Yeah, yeah. My daddy got 22 kids and, all these different. I'm like, hold on, little Stevie, can you sit down for a second? It was hard for him to even sit down and be quiet and focus for 10 minutes to
Hmm.
do a worksheet together.
But when you're
But that's
used
the
to
difference
chaos and
between growing
dysfunction,
up.
go
I'm
ahead, Miss
sorry.
Ebony.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, but that's the difference between growing up in love and growing up in survival.
Oh,
So,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
so,
that's
all
true.
right there.
so when you grow up in love, then you behave a totally different way.
Yeah,
I didn't grow up
Mm-hmm.
as a survivalist. I grew up in a loving environment.
right.
So when I talk to people, when I teach to people, when I talk to my child, when I converse with these other children in the schoolhouse, I'm doing it with love. So
Right.
they approach me and they receive me a totally different way.
Right.
Even the ones who grew up in survival, they feel
Mhm.
something different and they gravitate towards that love. They
Right.
don't know why they gravitate towards me, but once we start sitting down and figuring it out,
Mhm.
then they figure out, oh, I don't have to be like hard like this all the time. I don't
Yes.
have to do such and such. So
And when
that
you
I
grow
think
up,
is the difference.
and
So
when you
imagine
grow,
how those kids that when COVID-19 through 22 was going on and schools were closed, and maybe the only source of that type of love was coming from the school, and I
Hmm.
can't go.
Hmm.
I can't even get the
man.
attention that I craved from school because now
Girl,
you're
I was having kids calling me. They was on my social media. They was in my inbox on Instagram. And I
wow.
was like,
Man.
I was like, I don't want kids following me on my Instagram. I'm an adult. I do adult stuff. And but there are children who are on my Instagram who have graduated last year, graduate this year, will graduate next year. And, I'm like, okay, because I can't turn my back from this kid because this kid needed me,
Right.
you know. One child in particular that comes to mind, um, he and my daughter are in the same grade,
Mhm.
and this young man was a very tall fifth grader, right?
Oh, wow.
And so
Man.
one day he flinched at my daughter, and
Mm,
we were doing something, and he flinched at her like he was going to hit her, and I lost my
uh,
mind, right?
Woo-hoo.
yeah, I'm
And
sure.
Natalia had to get in between me and him and say, "Mom, you're at school. Hey, mom." Like she really had to get me out of there because I was about to attack the little boy, right? And so, but this young man's mother was at the school almost every day. And so the next time I saw her, I said, "Oh, child, I thought I was gonna have to wring your child's neck." And she was
Mm,
like, "What?" Because he had a little sister, right? He has a little sister, and she was like, "Wait, I don't even play like that. What he did? What?" And so after that, this young man and my daughter, they become like besties, right? And fast forward, we're deep into COVID, and her phone rings, my daughter's phone rings, and it's the young man. He says, "My mom just died."
Oh,
Like literally that
oh
minute,
my
she
God.
had just died, and the first person that he called was my daughter.
Oh my
And
God.
so uh, he had to go live in Georgia with his dad, who he wasn't with. He was only with his mom, right? So he
Mm.
and his little sister get separated. She's still here in Michigan. He's in Georgia. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going to become of him? He didn't know his dad like that, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward to 2024, they're both about to graduate. He's
Wow.
been doing phenomenal in football. He's got all these schools looking at him. And because they're on spring break, he's coming home to Michigan this week. And he
Mm-hmm.
says, Mom, I'm going to be home. We got to get together. We got to go
Yes.
have, dinner and stuff. And so Natalia's like, wait, I didn't even know he was coming home. What are you talking about? But once again, this is a kid that's in my inbox to
Mm-hmm.
tell me, what's going on and this and that and the other, or tell me about his girlfriend or whatever. And so, you have these relationships
Yes.
all because of your love. And
And your
even though that,
words. That
hmm
Yep.
goes right back into the line of how powerful our words are, not just the bad ones,
hmm
the good ones, the ones
hmm
that are positively infectious when you're encouraging someone and I think it was Maya Angelou. She wrote this quote that talks about it's not what you do for me, it's how you make me feel or something like
hmm
that. How you make
Yeah.
people feel
Yeah.
is so important. If I'm around you and I feel good, I know Simone don't like the word vibes, but or energy, but that's kind of what it is. It's an energy or a feeling that you give me when I'm around you. I feel valued. I
Yeah.
feel love. I feel concerned, that you're concerned about me. I don't. I may not be getting that anywhere else. So because of that, I'm going to gravitate towards you because
Mhm.
in your presence, I feel something good. Just
Mhm.
like the other end of the spectrum, if in your presence I feel horrible, drained, unimportant, cast down, I don't want to be anywhere near you.
Mhm.
right,
But for children, especially when they're in those formative years, they're going to gravitate to the people who seem to be loving and nurturing. That's even in a household. If you got one parent that all they know how to do is rule with the iron fist, but there's no love and nurture, and you wonder why they don't come and talk to you. Why would they? Every scenario is bad. Every scenario is you doing wrong. So that child sees you as a dictator
Yep.
Mhm.
and not a nurturer. You can have a disciplinary side of you, but also have a nurturing way to discipline.
Yeah.
Hmm.
so Tanya, so going back to what your initial um theme or topic for tonight was about get over it and that sort of thing. That's another thing that we have to look at as far as when we're adulting and when we're having children and things like that.
Mhm.
um well, you should just get over it. And you can't get over it without getting the necessary help. And so I think we as a culture and as a people have to stop having a stigma
Yes.
against um, therapy
Yes.
and
Yeah.
psychiatrists and stuff like that. Because guess
Absolutely.
what? If they weren't needed, they wouldn't exist.
There you go.
You have people who will say, you're just not praying enough, you're just not doing such and such enough,
Come on.
Oh
and
my
and that's
God.
that's so unfair because
I hate that. Oh my God. Just
isn't that unfair?
It is.
Because
very.
God gave these people, He gave us doctors,
He
right?
sure did. Oh yes,
Even
he did.
even when Jesus was walking, a couple of his apostles were doctors.
See, come
Hello.
on here.
So He gave us doctors, and if He gave us doctors, He gave us therapists, and if He
Mhm.
gave us these
Yes.
things, it's for us to use it.
Yes.
So we have to stop stigmatizing that and use it. We have to, because
Absolutely.
otherwise we won't be any better.
That being Jesus, Biggie size. That's
Yeah.
just all
Biggie
it
size, baby.
is. That's all it is.
Biggie size for me.
There are
All
people.
the
But-
time. We gotta get out of here.
But
There are
don't,
people
but,
that Jesus just gives a whole combo meal.
but
Whole
don't y'all think
combo
the
meal.
stigmatization is used as a weapon though?
It can be. It
Oh,
can
no,
be
if
used
Say that
to make
again, Fred?
you feel a certain way.
If you, well, I guess my theory on it is if you're gonna stigmatize somebody, that's a you're using that as a weapon, and to me, that's a weapon of mass destruction. Honestly
It can
speaking,
Mm-hmm.
be in the religious world. It's been used as a weapon, as a way to say your walk with Christ must not be where it should be if you're
Right.
going through
and that's
these
wrong.
experiences, and that is very wrong.
It's
But
just like
that's
what
why
they
you
did
have
to Job.
that's why you have to know the word for yourself.
That's what they did to Job. They said, because you lost everything, you must be doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was just
Yep.
being tested. That's all
Right.
he was. He was just being tested.
Hey,
Right.
sis.
That's
But
all.
they assumed because he lost everything or he was in some type of
But
sin.
those was those false friends, though.
That is true.
Exactly.
Those were those false
Exactly.
friends, Simone. And
That
so
is
that's probably a whole nother topic that Tanya could talk on. You know,
Exactly.
We gonna
false
address that.
friends,
Yes.
because those false friends will lead you down the road to destruction.
Ooh-wee. That's the truth. That's the truth. Well, we got to wrap up, y'all. I want to thank you all for. I wasn't even going to do this tonight, but I was feeling a little heavy and needed to get some things off of my chest. And I feel better. It's been a heavy week, but a lot of times when you push through, hey, Coco. Coco says that's the problem with assumptions. Absolutely, I agree. And my sister Kai is on. Everyone goes through. Christ never said, if you follow him, your life would be great. He ain't
Come
never said
on. Come
he
on.
didn't preach. He ain't never, if that's the case, he wouldn't even need him.
In fact, he actually said, if we want to go there, he actually said, you're going to go through but don't worry about it because I've already overcame it.
That's what he said.
You gotta
That's what he
you're gonna
said.
pick up your own cross. You're gonna bear your own cross.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's right. And watch people who are always so quick to judge your walk.
Ooh.
Be careful of your connections. Some people, the Christian Police Academy.com, be careful. They got records
I
themselves.
love her.
They got rap sheets themselves. Okay. Be very
I
careful.
love this woman on the other side of the
Very
screen.
careful. I'm not here. I can't work out nobody's salvation but my own. So
And honey, and every day I have to say I'm sorry.
me too. Every day, all day.
Yeah,
Let
exactly.
me get out of here. Thank you to all of my guests on the screen. Thank you to all those who are in the comments. I feel better now. I really do. Tomorrow we're going to touch on, what are we going to touch on? I feel like we need to go back to our original conversation, kind of along the parenting lines, but how we are parenting young adults. Let's segue into what does that look like?
Because Tanya, we done went to a whole new level, didn't we?
But I'm telling you, I need to understand. Hey, Auntie Emma, it's one thing for children, Christian Police Academy, yes, honey. But when we get into young adults, and we're so different, talking to my daughter as a young lady, I'm and I know, Evelyn, you probably are too, of how, wow, you a whole woman. You know, we don't have the same conversations that we did when she was 12 that we do at 21. So she's now has a little boyfriend. Shh. You know, so I'm like, we talking about love, we talking about dating, we talking about money, because I've been teaching her all along how to be responsible with credit cards. Man, you ain't gonna have the pitfalls I had. I got that good credit card. Didn't even get the card in. I just got the number. That thing was maxed out before it hit the U.S. Postal Service.
Oh my
So
Lord.
Dang.
Right.
I want her to be better than me.
Right.
I'm just saying. But I was so geek. But if nobody taught you financial responsibility, then you don't know. Hey, before you go max that thing out on 3 outfits, because they ain't giving you $300. And then the annual fee was $249. And then the monthly maintenance fee was $2.18. By the time I got it, I only had $17 of credit. That's the devil. It's called a Gargamel spirit. Those kind of cards, no. When they only gonna give you $300 and take it all back in fees. No, just say no. Just say no. But I want to get how we are parenting youth and young adults, because the end game is to have good citizens in the earth once they are released out of the nest. So sometimes some of the conversations, Auntie Emma said, stop it. We got to have the hard talks. We got to have the sexual talks. We got to have, I know abstinence is what we want them to do, but in reality, everybody ain't abstainable. If that's a word.
Sure.
Man.
So if you go to temptation and your fiery loins are inflamed.
Girl, let me just say this.
Oof. God.
One of the seats that I chair in the Van Buren School District is the health and sex education chair.
Yes, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I am over what is taught K through 12 in the school system. Mm-hmm. And so right now we are renewing what we have been teaching. And the Michigan model is abstinence, and that's what we teach. However, you have to give them the rest of it, right?
Use my words too.
Ooh, child. It's a mess.
But we got to have, as my sister said, we have to have those conversations and have them early, because trust me, and I'm almost 50. The conversations was happening in middle school.
Yes, they are.
So they probably happening in elementary now.
With elementary school
They're
age
probably
kids.
happening in elementary now.
And I'm as not being a parent.
We had that conversation in elementary school.
No, the kids they were talking about it. My kids were, and some grew up in wealthy areas, had both parents. So it's not just the hood; it's suburbs too.
But look at what we're watching. Look at what we're looking at. Look at what our influences are. Sex, and more sex.
Wait a minute. I remember we having that conversation in 7th grade. I remember the teacher that taught it.
They having it way. These kids.
So we started when I was in teaching it.
I think we started teaching it at
school. Yeah, we started teaching it in 4th grade in health class, according to the state of Michigan. It starts to get taught at 4th grade.
Now,
we were taught earlier than that in Georgia.
Kai says, yep, in school, not at home when I was growing up. So we learned about stuff. School is what you're not getting at home. You're going to get in these streets, or you're going to get at school with the kids from the streets.
But that's why I always say to a parent is and I'm trying to make sure I'm not saying it in the wrong tone. I always say to a parent, please educate me how you want me to handle something with your kids, so I'm not telling them the wrong thing. Because if you don't want to have the sex education talk, what do you want me to say when your kid comes to me talking about that?
Talk to your mom or your daddy. If they don't want you to talk about it, because we have to get a signed paper to take health.
That part.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I had to have my parents sign my page.
Yeah.
Yes.
But these kids, the parents signed the papers for us to talk about it. But on the same token, it was still an uncomfortable talk to have.
Yes.
You know, because you have to, by law, you can't say certain things. Can't use this word. So I mean,
my question exactly.
It wasn't uncomfortable for me. It wasn't uncomfortable when I got to talk. It wasn't uncomfortable for me to talk to my child. It's not uncomfortable for me to talk to any other child, because it's a human function. It's
you know
life.
What, Ebony, I'll say, that's for me. I didn't have any formal training to be it, so maybe that's why it's a little awkward for me.
Okay.
And I'm assuming you had to go to school and get degrees, and plus being a parent, you're like 100 steps ahead of what
Sinette,
I
my
would do.
degree has absolutely nothing to do with child development or education.
Oh,
Well, were
that
you taught by your parents, Ebony? Was that conversation given to you
Yes,
in a way that
yes,
it was receivable? That's the difference. See, when my mama
yes.
sat me down with a book with a bunch of penises in it, I ain't like it.
right.
I'm just gonna, yeah.
Now my mama was
I just,
real
I don't.
open.
What's happening here? What is happening here, mother? What's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And
Yeah,
it
but
was no
Sinette, I
stepdad.
Man.
I can't do that. That was awkward. And my stepdaddy was in the room. I already didn't like him. So why you gonna choose to have him in the room when you introduce sexual talk to me? I don't even know him like that. That should have been a one-on-one discussion. A book can be an aid, but you have to talk about this stuff. I don't know. I don't want to see all of that. What is that? What's why?
Man,
What?
look.
Why? Nastiness. Nastiness. I mean, I was what 7 or 8. Like,
You don't,
tell
if
them
that's the
to say,
case, you
oh
don't even
no,
want to
I'm
know.
good. Oh,
You don't want to know how I was introduced in.
uh-oh. Let me go to my comments real quick. Kai says it's sad. Come on, comment that grown adult women don't know so much about their own body. That part because nobody is teaching anybody anything. Some
Nope.
stuff we just finding out, and it's not the right stuff. Some stuff we're
Right.
making assumptions about, and it's not accurate. Some we probably
My
need to
God.
go back to the
Uh-oh.
beginning and teach ourselves, and then prepare to teach the kids.
Uh-oh.
Auntie Emma said, "Wait a minute, I didn't know nothing about sex until I got pregnant." Yes, Auntie, there's supposed to be a health course that has a
yeah,
sex
we
education
totally
component.
Miss Emma
Listen,
we
funny.
my
absolutely
class,
teach it here in the
listen,
state of
my
Michigan. We
class,
absolutely
my class took we had to have a whole baby. We had to take
Wow.
care of a whole baby for 24 hours. We actually had the pregnancy vest on. They had us walking around school with the pregnancy vest on. I was like, baby, oh no, ma'am.
Y'all had a
no, sir.
pregnancy vest?
Yeah, we had an actual vest. They made us put a pregnancy vest on. And we
We
walked
just had an
around.
egg we had to keep, and it
No,
couldn't
no, no, no. It was
couldn't
the
be
actual.
cracked.
When I tell you, it was a whole suit, and it was like I don't know if they had pad or pregnancy padding. I don't know what they did to make it look like they were pregnant. But
Wow.
it had a
whole
whole
suit.
baby. When I tell you,
Wow.
yeah, no ma'am, no
Yep.
sir. Mm-mm. And then
The
taking care of
comment
that.
person, the person just commented and said age appropriate conversations. So there are the conversations that, and again, I only can speak to the state of Michigan, the conversations that you have with a fourth grader, it looks different again when we talk about it again in the seventh grade, when we talk
Right.
about it again in the
Right.
ninth grade.
Can't
So
can't
it
touch.
is very age appropriate.
Yeah, I
In
agree.
today's world, we have a lot of videos and a lot of technology that we can use that they didn't even use necessarily when my daughter was in school.
Right.
But but these are conversations that we definitely are having within the school district, and you have to remember that there are some parents who feel like anything that their child learns is the school's responsibility. It is not their
Wow.
responsibility. And
Wow.
I'm of
No.
the opposite thought. I'm the teacher first at my house, and
Right.
Look,
then
I
you learn
I
at
agree
school.
with that. I
if you
agree with
in
that.
your house, if you in your house and you knocking the boots in the other room,
Oh my lord.
and your child is hearing these, Mama, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? Mama, I'm be
Yeah.
hearing you
Yeah.
at nighttime, Mama, and I be wanting to call the ambulance.
I
I don't know
can't.
what's
I
happening. You're
cannot.
gonna have to.
Baby, not
How
only
you
do we have
guys
to
address that? You gonna do that, and that child is hearing you, and they don't understand what's happening in the other room, but you want the teacher to teach it? That's not gonna work.
not only did we have the best
Yeah.
baby, I thought my mom was gonna kick me out the house because this baby,
Oh Lord. See?
that baby would
We
not
all
shut
gotta go
up.
back to the basics. And then children, y'all letting our kids watch stuff on television or on Netflix, Roku, Hoodoo, and Voodoo. And there's so many things going on of a sexual nature. Y'all sit there just watching it, and they 4, 5, and 6. See, when I was little, I hated even when a kissing scene came on in my parents' presence.
Mm.
I didn't want them. I didn't close your eye, oh, close your eye. You know, so we got to have these conversations. If you're going to be watching stuff and listening to explicit music around the kid, but you don't have a discussion about what their body parts are, who should and should not be able to see, touch. Come on now.
And not only that,
real words.
We ain't gonna be on here.
We had wristbands. We had wristbands on. We had wristbands attached to our arm, and somehow they had like some type of electronic device in the wristbands. And so when we touched the baby, it had to ding or something, and they will know whether or not we took care of the baby. They will use that to tell. And somehow they had like a system set up where they can tell whether or not we're taking care of the baby. So if we ain't taking care of the baby,
I am old.
Man, that was crazy.
I am. We ain't had none of that. We had an egg. You were given an egg, and you got to take care of the egg.
I have rocks.
Make sure the egg don't crack, LHG. As long as the egg don't crack, you good.
Oh my God, that's some high tech stuff, because I never even heard of that. Y'all ain't have an egg.
It was a real human life.
Stop playing.
It was a real human life-size baby, and they put wristbands on us and everything. Wow. And if the wristband didn't click, if the wristband didn't make a sound, that means you weren't taking care of the baby in time. So then you failed.
Oh God!
Every time the wristband didn't click, you failed.
Conversations that we need to be having that may seem uncomfortable, but yet are necessary, because I would rather overshare than undershare. I just want our children. Wait a minute, let me get to these comments.
Coco said I scrambled my eggs with cheese and onions.
Girl, you didn't scramble. Lord, you made a whole omelet out of your egg.
Somebody said I went to a tech school. That might be why.
Okay, got you.
No way, I can't.
Let me get out of here. Thank y'all. We went to a whole other topic. Thank you all again for joining me tonight. We'll be back tomorrow at about 5. And I think I want to pursue this parenting a little bit more and age appropriate discussions. Like, are we missing out on opportunities to have discussions we should be having at a young age? The world is so different with technology. And I had made a joke about babies in the womb with a tablet, but there's so much at their disposal that they can see. So young, you have to address some stuff, because kids are very much advanced, technologically advanced, way more so. When I was coming up in the 80s, and we didn't have all of that.
Miss Casey scrambled her baby.
News review. We ain't have all this extra stuff. So you have to evolve as a parent as the times evolve, as technology evolves, as options are out here, and different types of what are you claiming to be, and what do you how they say it now? No disrespect to anybody, but what you identify as. There's more options out here. When I was growing up, either you were male or female. There wasn't an option of you identify as. And no disrespect to anyone who doesn't identify as either. That's not what I'm saying. We just only had 2 boxes.
I identify as a rich white woman.
Well, there it is, Becky. Thank you, Becky.
I'm a rich white woman, and y'all better address me as such.
Let me get out of here. I love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out.
Love you.
At 5. Have a good evening. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.